What is the most important match in my career? Yep. So there are two to come to mind, and for very different reasons. For about 5 years, it was a match I had on December 10th, 2017 at Korakuen Hall in Tokyo, Japan. And then about exactly a year ago, I had a match at White River Wrestling in Indianapolis, July 17th of 2022. And that's this one. So I had a match with Jack Vaughn at White River Wrestling show July 17th, 2022, near a district of Indianapolis called Mass Ave, which is like a hipster kind of chic party-ish district. And we did a show at a place called the Folding Warehouse, where White River Wrestling has done a handful of shows over the last few years. Really cool establishment. You should definitely check that out. And that was a show I organized and promoted, and really hurriedly tried to get together, because that was in July, and in April I had gotten home from a couple-week tour of Europe, and I went to my parents' house and I saw my dad, and in the 2 weeks I had been gone, he lost 60 pounds. And he was a pretty in shape guy most of my life. There was a while there where he was a bodybuilder even, really looked great. And when a guy like that loses 60 pounds, he went from jacked to almost a skeleton in 2 weeks. And they told me that right before I got home that they had went to the doctor and they found out he had a really rare type of cancer, cholangiocarcinoma, and bile duct cancer. And if you don't know what that is, that's great, because if it ever comes up in your life or someone you know's life, you might as well just be told it's already too late. And they'd given him just a handful of months if he didn't seek treatment, and if he did seek treatment, they said he might have 6 months to 2 years or so, but it was gonna be a really hard and really painful road. And that was April, and pretty shortly after, I went ahead and I penciled in this White River Wrestling show, and I did it for July 17th because logistically that was about the soonest I could make it happen. However, I was really worried that my dad wouldn't make it to that show. And I really, really wanted him to see me wrestle one more time before he passed away. And almost immediately he started chemotherapy and immunotherapy, and it was rough. It was really rough. And there'd be a couple really, really bad weeks, and there'd be a good week. And he had been my biggest supporter over the last, 15 years probably. Him and my mom and my grandpa. My grandpa passed a long time ago. And I really wanted to see him wrestle one more time. And my parents, they only really came to shows in Indianapolis, which I only wrestle in once every blue moon, because the Indianapolis wrestling scene is atrocious. And I wanted them to come to a great show, and I wanted to see them see me have a great match. So I organized that, and put myself against somebody I knew I could have a great match and deliver with, and that's the veteran Jack Vaughn, who is one of my oldest friends, and I can trust him, and he's one of the best wrestlers I've ever seen. And I knew we could go out there and we could do something really special. And I knew if my dad made it to that, it'd probably be the last time he'd ever see me wrestle. So that's why I put those things in place. And the week of the show, my dad was in really bad shape. So bad that my mom told me indirectly, there's a good chance we won't be able to see the show, and we're really, really sorry. And of course, I wasn't upset at them for any reason, just upset that they might not be able to make the show. So I really crossed my fingers, and I hoped that something would happen and he would feel okay that day. And luckily he did. He was able to show up that day, and I think just knowing that it was so important to me, and he had no reason, he had no idea he was the reason that I really wanted to organize and run that show. He just thought it was a show I was putting on, and he supported me. and knew how excited I was about the show. And I think that excitement got him excited, and I think he knew that everything he did from that point out was probably the last time he ever got to do that in his life. So he knew the importance it was to show up at the show and to support me, but not only to support me, but I think to see a lot of my friends with whom he became close over the years. And there's even some friends I tried to bring in for that show that I knew he really liked as people, because I wanted him to be able to say goodbye to them without them knowing that's what the case was going to be. Because I didn't tell anyone my dad had this going on, and he didn't tell anyone he had this going on, and we kept it pretty close to the vest for about 7 or 8 months, and he made it 10. So we made it to the show that day, and I got to go out, and not only was I proud of my match, but I was proud of the entire show we presented that night, and everyone went out there and killed it and did great, and the crowd was on fire. And my cheering section was electric, and I could just tell how proud of me my dad was. And there used to be part of me that never wanted to show any part of the real side of my life online or on social media, and I still try not to so much. But I'm at the end of my run, I'm at the end of my career, and I don't really care about much anymore. And my great matches and important moments are few and far between. So whatever. And July 17th, 2022 was one of the 2 most important matches in my whole career.